21, early 2022. We're getting loaded onto the Rift here. It's going to come down to those guys. And on the other and in the bot lane, look, you've got your tools. You know your mission, right? Comet here for Crastiel and Halo Blades for Steps. Now, Varus can be built kind of a couple different ways, depending on what you want to do, depending on how badly you want to index into the early game. How do you read the Halo Blades here? Because usually I feel like I see Comet if you're going to run this in the bot lane.
Yeah, what this signals to me is it's going to be... it's actually interesting because if he's going on hit, it would typically be the lethal tempo.
Exactly.
But, I mean, it stacks up the Blight very quickly, so Halo Blades definitely does have value. We'll have to see how that one goes later, but Wigo is on a bit of an adventure, should be fine. And as we get into this early game, you mentioned Grevthar. This is the player that I have my eyes on because the difficulty for Kabum is that they want to be able to play towards the strong Lucian Army. They want to be able to play this powerful early game that we so know them for. But Grevthar, with the winning matchup in the mid lane, Yone into Silas, if he can get a handle on this alongside Sting and win the mid jungle 2v2, it's going to be very difficult for Kabum to get an advantage in the early stages of the game, which would make this game so hard for them to play it out the way that they want to. So I've really got my eyes on Grevthar to generate pressure, but meanwhile, Duds the Boy and Skuro, look, we've been critical of Duds the Boy, but on the Lucian, it's a playmaking champion in a favorable lane matchup as well. Maybe you don't even need the team to help you get ahead. Maybe you can just win out in the 2v2.
It's still an incredibly strong 2v2 and carries into that mid game like you were talking about with the rest of the composition really, really well. And Kabum, one of the things that they can do is play through a bunch of different lanes, right? Lonely, he's played a smattering of different champions, and his champ pool has been so good. And even yesterday, we saw as the game kind of descended into madness, if you will, Skuro on the business end of a trade there from Crastiel. Both supports, maybe not in the best shape that they'd like. Cade Stars, they're the ones that hit level 2 early, but Does the Boy matching that? Yeah, Lonely, he went straight into a Hullbreaker. When he saw, look, our bot lane is screwed, we need another win con. He went right into that Hullbreaker and created a lot of pressure and extended that game out to 40 minutes. A game that, in my opinion, had no business going as long as it did, given Los Grandes' domination. Sting and Scary now doing battle by the blue buff. Scary able to get the permafrost down, but not going to go for the killing blow. Probably smarter for it. Knew that maybe Grevthar was unaccounted for in the mid lane, therefore he might be heading over to help out Scary, but Sting's still very low. He wants that blue buff. He wants to stay on tempo as far as the jungle race is concerned. It's a 4v4 that almost breaks out in the East jungle quadrant.
Sting, really nice invade right here, just doing the typical 3 camp into bot play, because either you find a bot dive or you find a camp, and that's exactly what he got. And Grevthar already getting active on the map to help his jungler win out on the play. Now, nothing major was blown. It is just the blue buff take, but VivoCade already leveraging these lanes to find a bit of an early lead. And again, Kabum, we've mentioned that this has been a team that they have been so proficient in the early game, struggled a bit more in the later stages of the game. I mean, we saw it yesterday against Los Grandes. Even though they were able to grind out the match, they weren't able to come out on top in the end. And so VivoCade being able to attack early, disrupt the game plan that Kabum wants, feels so good for this team. And you can already see the line of control that Sting has. Yuri now potentially under threat.
Sting hovering just outside of that of the line of vision. The Pokemon gives away his position early. Yuri having to flash away. The Soul Unbound. The trade goes on for Grevthar, but not really able to do a ton there. They crash the wave, create a little bit, relieve a little bit of pressure that Yuri was putting on. He's low on mana, but Scary knows exactly where Sting is. But Grevthar, again, like we saw on the bot side of the map, now on the top side, just shadowing his jungler. Grevthar, he is the ever-present presence. Crastiel right over the wall with the tether. Very well done. They did not see that coming, let me tell you. But the healing coming in from Skuro, it's not quite enough. Sting in some trouble here. He didn't take the tower aggro. That might be what saves him. Scary able to get the permafrost down. Grevthar dealing damage back, but Scary with the flash able to get away. There goes the tether. Crastiel playing really well on this. Karma so low. It's so tragic. It's so close. And Scary is going to walk away with a triple kill. Are you kidding me? Scary with the triple on the Sejuani. I did not have that on my bingo card.
Neither did I. It's a 3v3 in mid at 5 minutes, and Kabum comes out on top. Specifically, Scary comes out on top. What a play from the jungler of Kabum. It started off nice for VivoCade, but unfortunately, they just ran out of gas.
And it's so, because that fight was on the margins, right? And Grevthar, he walked away with a kill. And if you're a Cade Stars fan right now, thank goodness. Because to go just straight up 3 for 0, yes, you burned Yuri's flash, you burned, the TP, you forced a flash out of Skuro as well. Like, a lot of resources were blown on either side. But this would feel so bad if Grevthar at least didn't get something. But he's able to get on the Berserker's Greed. That feels really nice. Good. It's a good first back on Yone. Maybe not exactly how he would have wanted to have that pack go down, but he's feeling okay, all things considered.
Right, and that's the critical point, is that Grevthar still has this mid advantage. So even though Scary does pick up 3 kills, even though it's a slight gold advantage to Kabum, I think the game plan for VivoCade is going to be fine. I want to see how Scary is able to leverage this gold lead that he now has to spread it to other lanes, but I still think even with these kills, it's favorable mid jungle for VivoCade. So should be fine. Scary actually even down a level on Sting, and here is that mid jungle fight that we might have anticipated, as no, everyone's just going to back away, but VivoCade are the ones controlling the river. They are the ones, again, cutting Scary off from this bottom lane and allowing Steps to go even with Duds the Boy.
Yeah, and at this point, like you said, Scary's got to try to distribute that gold lead that he's got. And I like the play to steel caps purchase, right? Auto attack's going to be a threat from pretty much everybody. Just slam that immediately. But he's going to try to spread that out, and that bottom lane is what you want to get ahead. So like you said, Sting just making sure that if Scary's going to come down to the bottom lane, he's going to encounter at least 3 bodies. Initial control of the river did go over to VivoCade, but another control ward went down from Scary, reestablishing that control. They had one in the Pixel Brush, but now they've got one in the Dragon Pit. Sting not leashing. He knew Scary was there. Hitting not really any critical item spikes beforehand. Scary and the rest of the Kabum bot lane. Maybe not the rest of the Kabum bot lane. Going to start this dragon, but hold up. He has found a teleporting or a basing Yuri, but now Yuri has no mana. He does have a Yone ult, but that might be about it. He's going to use it to get himself out of trouble.
Really interesting play right there from Scary, but Sting, I'm so impressed with the way he's playing this game. Again, coming in, not having a good showing yesterday, it was a rough look for VivoCade, I think it's fair to say. But in this game, just completely tracking Scary, not allowing Scary to do any of the plays that he wants to. And even though the triple kill went down in mid, he hasn't let that rattle his confidence. Always just looking to cut Scary out of the play. He can't start Dragon. He can't gank bot. He can't even invade the red buff. And that means that this game is so even. Now Guigo might be a bit overextended. We'll see if Kabum is able to find him.
Oh, like ships in the night. Guigo might have gotten away with one there. Guigo giveth and Guigo taketh away, man. Here comes the dive potentially. They've got a decent-sized wave stacking up. Skuro looking for a bubble for the disengage. Steps getting the damage down. Grevthar, he's got his ultimate. Able to get the flash out of Duds the Boy with a couple more autos. Might be able to do it, but he's actually going to take down Steps here. As Crassiel taking down Tower Aggro. Shut down up on the top side. Meanwhile, are we kidding me? Hopefully we get a replay of that, but the sloppy dive down bot does finally pay dividends for VivoCade, and more critically, Guigo getting himself on the board. Now Duds the Boy, what are we doing? Just overextended, overstaying his welcome. Grevthar now has 3 kills.
Sloppy is the right word to describe that. I have no idea what the hell we just watched. VivoCade, they bring 4 to punish Scary. Again, a great call from Sting on the bottom side of the map. But, I mean, the dive was messy. Everybody juggling aggro back and forth. Nobody picking a target. But we'll get to see this topside fight. Guigo gets taken so low, but there's no damage left, and it's just going to snip right through. The minions will ultimately take him down, but that is a kill and a shutdown to this scaling Gwen. We were talking about Lonely being able to win in isolation. Well, that is not what you want if you're Kabum.
No, that is literally the opposite. You didn't win in isolation. You lost with a numbers advantage, and a health bar advantage too. To get into the finer points of it, Guigo, man, this dude. I mean, when he was on red as well, this was such a point of frustration. Sometimes for people was like, man, Guigo, it's clear that he has the hands on the sauce. Hold up, I gotta hold this point. Glacial Person goes out, but Sting is in the back line now. Yuri looking for a flag, not able to land. The Abscon abduct. Sting, it's too far forward, and Yuri's gonna make them pay. It wasn't coordinated enough. There goes the tidal wave. Grevstar's got a few kills, so Yuri might think twice about taking a fight with him. Well, maybe not, though. He's got the backup from Skuro. Grevstar opting into this one. Getting the decent damage there down onto Yuri, but when that solo comes back, it doesn't matter. Killing spree for Grevthar. He has gone from facilitator to hard carry in this game, Hawk.
Oh, and flash
man.
in.
Exchange of Corruption not going to land. Grevthar has the flash, though. Are we kidding? That's 5 kills now. He's saying, this is my team, homie. I'm going to drag you by the skin of your teeth to a second win of the split. Grevthar putting on a clinic.
This game may seem even, but Grevthar is so fed. The man we wanted to see carry. Look, if VivoCade just fights around this Yone, they are going to win every single play. 5-1-0, 91 CS at 11 minutes. He's going to get a plate on this turn as well, maybe even 2. This is the doomsday scenario for Kabum, and a team that has struggled in the mid game is about to crest into that portion. They get the dragon, but it was most certainly not worth it.
No, that was a consolation prize, if I've ever seen one, and it turned into that because I thought Grevthar was completely out of that fight, and Yuri was just bullying him. I thought with the backup from Skuro behind him, I thought, look, this is just about taking Grevthar out of this fight, just not allowing him to do anything. But now Gigo maybe in a little bit of trouble here. Sting coming in for the backup. Another kill for Gigo. Put the solo laters on some carries, and good things happening for VivoCade stars. Do you believe, Hawk?
I do believe. Look, I think this game is absolutely over. Skuro is going to drop as well. There is just no overcoming a 4-kill Gwen and a 5-kill Yone. VivoCade with the substitutes in the game after getting destroyed yesterday by Fluxu. They are taking it to Kabum. Sting is going to pick up the Herald as well. And at this point, if I'm Kabum, my only hope is to try to blow open the game through bot because these solo lanes are doomed.
It's so bad for the solo lanes right now. And I think this ties back into something you were saying earlier about how, look, even though Scary got that triple kill early on, this is still a favorable mid jungle for the side of VivoCade. And initially I was like, I mean, maybe, look, that's still 3 kills, but 3 kills on a Sejuani in the early game really isn't going to do you much.
No, it really doesn't. We've not seen Scary be able to leverage the lead at all. And again, I think some of the credit should go to Sting, or in fact, a lot of the credit, even this play. It's another play that Kabum starts on the top side. But guess who is there immediately to counter? It is Sting. Guigo able to do the damage with the support of this Vi. I am so impressed by the substitute jungler for VivoCade right now, just having an immaculate game, absolutely outplaying who was one of the top performers on this Kabum team.
And this feels like the absolute worst case for scenario for Kabum, just like zooming out. Because again, start off the split 0-2, fine. It's the first week. How much can you read into those results? You go on a 4-game winning streak and then lose to Los Grandes. Great. That, again, that doesn't really matter. Los Grandes might be the best team in Brazil. And now, just tripping and falling midway down onto the ground. Oh, Grevthar in some trouble now. Finally, a shutdown for Yuri's going to help them get back into this one. That closed the lead significantly. But this has the makings of an absolute egg on the face for Kabum right now.
It really does. I mean, clearly this team is so difficult to predict, and VivoCade, I think so much of it does come down to a really nice draft. This Yone pick so clearly throwing Kabum off of the game plan that they had established in their draft, which was let's play mid to bot. That's what they've done so much. Isolated winning matchup for Lonely. Let's play mid to bot, but you can't play mid to bot when your 2v2 just gets destroyed, and that is the power of Yone in a composition like this. Now, Yuri getting a 950 gold shutdown will help in this game substantially. So it's not 1,000% doomed, but now solo first tower for Guigo, it's like 90% doomed, I think, 4x4. And look, getting that kill onto Grevthar, even though that might get Yuri back in the game a bit, we can see the gold totals. Yeah, that's not closing that gap that much between the VivoCade solo laners and the rest of Kabum.
No, they are substantially ahead. You can see it. And even though they're not on kind of these traditional big item spikes on a champion like the Yone for Grevthar, he's going to rush that first item, being the Blade of the Ruin King. I like the Black Cleaver pickup on Sting. That got some some buffs, but especially knowing that, like we talked about, Grevthar is your win condition, ladies and gentlemen. Varus is strong. Yes. Karma gives you a nice presence in the bot lane. Fantastic. It is about the solo laners right now, and they've done a good job at adapting to the win conditions right now. But like you said, they really drafted themselves into this and threw down the gauntlet a little bit, because I think even in draft, you and I were saying, look, Kaboom's composition, this is just much easier to execute, right? It's a strong mid-game composition. This is the OPs of the patch. We've seen this draft 10,000 times since the start of this year, and heck, even a little bit into last year. But VivoCade, through the power of their solo laners, making things happen. And now, Guigo maybe in a little bit of trouble here, but this is kind of what Kabum have to do here. They've got to try to get picks to get back into this game, and another shutdown, but again, it goes on to the Sejuani. God bless you, Scary, but this is not where you want the gold.
But it is still shut down, but critically, they're going to get to tower. While they were talking, VivoCade was making a really big mistake, and I do think this is showing a bit of the experience of this roster, perhaps. They pulled their solo laners in towards mid when they didn't have control of the sides. But when you've got a fed Gwen, when you've got a fed Yone, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to play on the 1-3-1, get pushing side lanes, and then collapse towards the objective. By dropping the sides, it meant that Guigo got caught out while trying to rotate back to top lane, and it does allow Kabum to cross map on the play. So I would like to see around future objectives, VivoCade doing a better job of ensuring they have 3 pushing lanes before the play starts. That will help them eliminate some of Kabum's options so we don't see shutdowns like that getting picked up.
Yeah, this just isn't a position that they've been in too often. Winning a game and going, oh my goodness, we have the onus on us in the mid game to execute something. But Steps now here in trouble, getting picked off on the Varus again. Like you said, Hawk, not what you want to see. Scary taken out of the fight for now. Yuri's got himself a Karma. Oh, have fun with that, homie. He will get taken down, but it took him a while. Lonely into the fight here. Big old Mar ulti, but he has to flash away.
Oh,
now it's a 3v3. Finally, the Glacial Prison comes out. They still had that on tap and are able to stop the fight from going VivoCade's way. Little by little, Kabum clawing their way back into this one.
Kabum find a nice pick onto Steps and win the fight. Again, VivoCade, they're mispositioning on the map, mispositioning on their waves. They're over-grouping with these fed solo laners. Just go back to what was working in the early game. Sting always matched Scary, and that worked. Crastiel as well doing the work on that, but they've stopped doing it. They've just started grouping, and it's meant that Kabum has been able to find the one member that's out of position and start a team fight. Now, Guigo, strong enough on this Gwen that one R3 dissuades the entire chase from Kabum after they see all their health bars get chunked for 50%. So it's still fine. It's 1 for 2, but these kind of plays are going to help Kabum get back into this game. This now is what I wanted to see, where VivoCade is going to push out both their side lanes, then move into the river afterwards. It's going to force Kabum to respond, meaning they don't have the numbers to contest for this vision around the second Herald. So maybe VivoCade, learning from some of their mistakes in the past couple minutes, they've hopefully stabilized in this game, but I am looking at if Kabum can force more of these situations out of VivoCade, Scary can find the engage on Sejuani. That is your way back in.
This is going to be interesting. Guigo, he did not have a teleport. Lonely does, but they're both going to just walk in here. They're starting up the Herald, VivoCade. Grefthar starting the fight, buying time for Guigo to get in here. This feels like the pivotal fight in this game, Hawk. Scary, taken out of it. The Glacial Prison didn't really do much. Yuri's got the Gwen ultimate, but takes him down with it. There goes Guigo with that R3. He's so dang strong. It's a 5v4, but the health bars aren't looking fantastic. Steps takes an arrow right to Skuro. Scary looking for a way back into this one. Lonely charging up that Mega Narbar. You got to look out for that. The Herald is abandoned, and VivoCade Stars, they got the kill that they were looking for. They know that this fight, as it goes on, might not go their way, so they're going to abandon it. Tether goes out from Crastiel, and the tower goes out to Kabum. Little by little, not able to capitalize on any advantages. VivoCade Stars.
And again, it's Kabum finding an advantage when they shouldn't have one. Even though Yuri is the one that drops in the fight, it's only 1 for 0. And Kabum, they recognize that they're closer to mid-wave. They say, hey, let's just call off the fight, drop back to mid, and push it out. Without the Vi ultimate on Sting, the amount of engage for VivoCade is actually so low. And it feels like Kabum is starting to recognize that. They're kiting out Grevthar and Guigo. And again, I think VivoCade maybe just overgrouping that little bit, but so much credit to Kabum for finding advantages when it feels like they shouldn't.
Yeah, and there, like you said, it was an advantage that they found not even in, they're mispositioning around the map, which is a mistake we criticized VivoCade for not 2 minutes ago, but in the fight. With no engage from Sting, you go, wait a minute, they're just kind of relying on a Verisol, maybe, right? And able to back away. Scary was still alive. Yuri was not, but you still had Meganar. You still had Duds and Skuro. You still had a frontliner, albeit with half health, in Scary. Look, guy's got 5 kills. He's on 2 items. Nobody else really is. It's just the Fed solo laters for VivoCade. Nobody else is on really 2 items. Yuri's been farming well. He's managed to get himself a Roa and a Zanya's Hourglass at the start of at the cost of his boots. But recognizing that in the middle of the fight, and like you said, backing off and taking a tower in the mid lane, the gold is, for all intents and purposes, dead even right now.
We're about to hit a really critical moment in the game. Yuri's Rod of Ages is nearly fully stacked, and Dragon is on the board. Now, it's only 1 Dragon apiece, meaning it's not amazing, but this is the strongest item spike for Kabum that they'll have all game. 2 items on the Lucian, 2 items on Yuri with the fully stacked Roa coming out. This is the time to fight. VivoCade, they're not quite there. They don't have Infinity Edge yet on Grefthar, and as you said, Steps also pretty far behind the item curve on this Varus. Maybe they actually even recognize this. They're just going to give the Dragon and play for some waves. Sting is in the pit, though. They want to go.
Oh, Sting is very much in the pit. Gigo, or rather Grefthar, in the mid lane. Sting able to get himself out of the pit, crucially here. It's a 5-on-5. Glacial Prison, not there from Scary. There goes the cease and desist. He's in the back line. Can VivoCade Stars follow up? Scary is isolated from the fight. Yuri going in, wreaking havoc, but it's just him. Buy himself some time with that stopwatch, and does the boy able to take down Grefthar. That is huge. VivoCade scattered to the wind. Gigo next on the menu. Another shutdown for Lonely. Oh, I do not believe, Hawk. I do not.
The item spikes for Kabum and Sting. I think it's a little bit of that lack of veterancy, panicking, feeling like a play needs to be made, but that is a one-way trip on the Vi. Old Duds the boy drags him back. Kabum, they're gonna get a Baron. I called the game at 10 minutes, but you know what? Never count out Kabum. We've learned it this season. We're learning it this game. Lonely finds another kill, and Kabum is firmly in the driver's seat.
I'm just sad, man. I really thought, I mean, what a game to be able to come back into and just salvage your season. 2-6 compared to 1-7. It's a world of difference. Here's that critical Vi ultimate.
Just why are we engaging face first into Illusion with everything up and available, and we have Yone Gwen? There's no reason not to be playing for flanks if we're VKS, and we're seeing why. They can't get through the Sejuani and the Gnar quick enough. Kabum, they drag Sting back. It's a split fight, and it's an easy win for Kabum. VivoCade, it feels like they're panicking in these fights. Either that, or they don't know how to play them, and it's allowed Kabum to open a door back into this game when they had a 6-kill Gwen and a 6-kill Yone.
And here's what that 6-kill Gwen can do. Just face check into 2 members and force a flash and actually grab a kill there onto the Lucian. Now they got a very nice 5v4. Abscond Abduct misses. Glacial Prison misses. Here's a numbers advantage for Grefthar and the boys. Sting looking to maybe go in. Again, Kabum have this Baron buff. They've taken their first lead of the game. There isn't an objective to fight over. Actually, no, excuse me, that Dragon is up. Pardon me, I thought that got taken last fight. It did not. So maybe trying to reestablish control here. Look, again, they've got the 5v4. They can't really find a flank angle. Grefthar gets gobbled up. Even with a numbers advantage, VivoCade fumbling the bag. Gigo doing what he can, but he blew his ultimate in trying to chase down Does the Boy. And it goes predictably for the last place team in CBLOL. Kabum dismantle them. VivoCade with nothing to stand on. The tragedy unfolds like a train wreck in slow motion. Kabum wresting control of this game.
Wow, I don't want to be too much of a doomer on VivoCade, so I'm just going to talk up Kabum because this team is punishing the mistakes of VivoCade so beautifully. Even in the 4v5, they recognize that grouped up, as you said earlier, apes together strong, right? Hey, let's just run at them as 4, and it doesn't even matter that they got 5. Grefthar dives into his death. Scary going to pick up the Dragon as well, and even though the Baron push got stifled with the pick on Duds the Boy, they're still going to be able to get at least a little bit off of it, and I have a feeling that the later this game goes, sure, the solo lanes of VivoCade will continue to get stronger, but you've got a Sejuani that's going to get so tanky. You've got no tanks against a Duds the Boy that can chunk you out on mid-wave every second he wants to. Kabum, they're going to have so many options.
Scary is a full item ahead of Sting and a true tank. Like you said, there's no true tank on Vivocade, so Sting is doing kind of his best impression, and I like the cleaver early pickup on Vi. That no problems with that. But again, the inability to snowball the lead for Vivocade now puts them in a spot where Sting is kind of caught between two worlds, right? He's got to be that engaged, but he's got to now survive long enough to where, to be able to allow his carries to chew through Scary. And that is such a tall task. He is up a full item and 5 kills on his jungle counterpart right now. Scary and the boys pushing up that line of scrimmage. They've got full control, full vision over both sides of the river here. Lonely, he's got TP. If he wants to join this fight, he's got the Gnar ultimate up. No flash, but that's about the only thing not in his favor. They find the 4v4. Vivocade throwing everything at the wall right now. Grefthar into the back line. He's got nothing. Gigo out of the fight, and so are Vivocade stars. They pull the trigger without everybody there. Discoordinated, discombobulated, and sent right back to the gray screen. Kabum punishing everything from Vivocade, and all they could do is retreat into where? Into nowhere.
4x4, I'm sure you've heard the definition of insanity, right? Like doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Vivocade just runs at Kabum again without their fed top laner and predictably gets taken down. Kabum, they're going to find another turret off of it. They're going to be able to take a free reset Baron in 2 minutes. They have full control of the top side of the map, and it doesn't feel like Vivocade are going to be able to figure this one out. At this point, it's just going to take one insane fight. Look, if they can get a flank with their solo laners, maybe it's good, but Guigo is just getting caught out in mid instead.
Hey, if you want wolves, you want wolves, man. It's a shame. I mean, this is a point that I started, earlier on. This was a pain point for fans of Red. Gigo, he could be the difference maker on this team. He is skilled. You saw what he did in that 1v2 on the Gwen. There's a champ that he's got tremendous comfort on, but it's these little mistakes that keep doing him in. Sting into the front line. Grefthar with no health, taken completely out of the fight. Yuri going in on the business end of a tether, so not going to continue the push, but going to continue it a little bit slower, shall we say. Lonely, doing side lane things without that hull breaker. Doesn't even matter. It's not like last game against Los Grandes. He's going to ult the minions, because why not? He's got CDR. He's up 6 kills right now. He is feeling A-okay. His team up 10,000 gold nearly in this one. What a flip of the script in the last 8 minutes. And like you said, Vivocade, this one is going to haunt them for a long, long time, but it is good to big up Kabum, because even though we were not critical, but just because it's not his fault, but just pointing out that, look, having that early goal and those early kills on Scary isn't exactly where you want it to go, but he's made good use of them. Now grabbing an Anathemas, it's been so hard to chew through this Sejuani that's been at least half an item ahead the whole dang game.
Yeah, we are really seeing the fruits of the gold that Scary's been able to get, because he's just been unkillable in all of these fights, it feels like. There's no one to chew through this Sejuani, especially with the way that Vivocade has been fighting. And again, Duds the boy, another player that we have been so critical of. Him and Skuro have had some great laning phases so far this year, but they've struggled to carry in the later stages of the game. Well, this game, Duds the boy, even though we've not hit like the super late game, he's played team fights really, really well, dragging Sting so deep into his team around that dragon fight really was a game-defining play. Now, frontline in just a little bit, he's going to do it again!
This is for all the marbles. Sting is separated from his team. We've seen this movie before, but the numbers advantage in the backline for Vivocade is a pain point that they can press on. Yuri able to flash into the blue buff pit. Gigo isolated against Scary, and you see how little they could do against this Sejuani. That is a human being and a boar. You are just a puppet with scissors, my friend. That's how the fight plays out. Steps and Gigo next on the menu. It is a formality, dotting some I's, crossing some T's. Kaboom! Wipe Vivocade stars off the map on their last Hail Mary.
Graciel gonna try to cut the wave and at least prevent Kabum from ending, but this is gonna be another free Baron. It's gonna be soul point as well. The game is not officially over, but it is ostensibly over, because there is just no hope in hell for Vivocade. I just don't understand how you can get solo laners this fed and only ARAM the entire game. I have never seen anything like this at the professional level. Vivocade, Crastiel credit getting the execute, but Vivocade not having any idea how to get into this game, and Kabum, they're just team fighting so beautifully. Does the boy once again, dragging Sting into the back line, not allowing Vi to do anything, and then the rest of Evocade in the 4v5 without any sort of front line just gets picked apart.
And when those fights get separated, Gigo and Grevthar, it takes them 5 to 10 seconds to have any sort of impact through the healing of Yuri and the tankiness of Scary, and the fight flips on its head. Like you said, that wave cut from Crastiel, look, the waves are in an okay spot right now, so it's not like Kabum were able to end off that fight like I thought maybe they would have been able to when that fight started. But with the Baron buff and critically all 5 members alive, right, this is going to be, just now it's Kabum's turn to execute on macro. With a Vivocade, we're not able to do. Grevthar caught out here in the tri-brush, bought himself a little bit of time there with that Immortal Shield Bow, but Gigo going to be next on the menu. Death Dance picked up for Grevthar from Beyond the Grave. Let's see if he can even get a chance to use it. Chains of Corruption not going to land. Arrow going to miss. It's all going wrong for Vivocade. Lonely already used his ultimate. The tidal wave going out. Kabum just chasing down Vivocade into their own base. It's a 5v4. You'd like to think that they'd be able to end on this push here, just waiting for the minions critically here. But that will be the last push. Grevthar back in about 20 seconds, excuse me. But he might not live that long. Kabum looked like they're marching to their 5th win. It looked like it was going to be an 0-2 week after an incredible stretch for the Ninjas, for Kabum. But Vivocade and their roster swaps, not enough. The dominance of the solo laners, not enough. The mid game was poor. Here we go. Last stand. Sting try to do what he can, but does just melt right through him. Playing the team fights very well against this jungler. It feels almost personal at this point. Yuri with the stopwatch gets hit by the Chains of Corruption, and it doesn't even matter. GG's. Kabum take their 5th win.